What's going on, everybody? This is not your typical lesson video, but I wanted to address a question that I get frequently asked. I'm actually going to start doing this a lot more because I get asked the same questions over and over again. So I want to do a video explaining to you guys and trying to answer your guys' question as best as I possibly can. So as you can see in the title, you know what this is about already. So one of the questions I get is, when I first start playing, should I be playing a 4-string or a 5-string? And I think the way that I can answer that the best way I can is it depends on your preference. When you're first starting to learn, obviously the 5-string has more strings, has one more string than the 4-string. All right, it has a lower B string. All right, so in the 4-string doesn't have that. It just has E to G or whatever your tuning is going to be at the time. But it's stringed E, A, D, G, and the 5-string is stringed B, E, A, D, G. So it has a lower, thicker B string. So when playing a 4-string, all right, you really have to be able to know your fretboard a little bit better. Playing a 4-string, just using those 4 strings versus playing a 5-string. The reason why I say that is because you actually have some extra lower notes and an extra string literally just to help you out if you want to play another octave below or whatever the case is. You have extra notes on that string that you can play, so it's easier to get to versus shifting up the fretboard. You can just kind of go down to that one B string or to that lower string to be able to hit the note that you want to hit instead of playing it higher. But that's one of the first advantages. I wouldn't even say advantage or disadvantage. I don't know what you would call that. But it's, like I said, it's just a preference. All right, you can start on learning anything. Really, I have a lot of students now that start on 6-string. I don't technically recommend that you start on a 6-string just because of the size, and you have to get your hands used to and your fingers used to or strong enough to be able to press the strings down firmly to be able to get that clear sound out of it. In the 6-string, the neck is a little bit, well, it's not a little bit, it's a lot more wider than a 4-string neck. All right, so I wouldn't suggest you skip that high when you first start playing to a 6-string, but 5-string, 4-string, those are the most common basses. All right, those are the most common basses that you're going to see if you go into a music store or anything like that. So second thing is you want to consider what genre of music you're playing. All right, if that style of music requires you to play anything lower than an E, than a low E, then I suggest you probably go try to start on a 5-string. If you can. It's a little bit more challenging just because the neck is a little bit more wider than a 4-string, but I don't think it's that much of a difference to where it'll just be astronomical. I think it's very well doable. And some of the styles that you play might not require that low B string or those low notes. You can get away with it just using these 4 strings. I know many guys, many greats that have not just gotten away with it, but have excelled and are great, phenomenal bass players. Even to this day, you don't have to have a 5-string to be a better bass player. All right, so that, scratch that myth off the top. All right, so you can also get the job done with a 4-string. And I know a lot of, especially in gospel music, a lot of the songs and a lot of the material require that low B string, and even some guys tune down a half step or even a whole step. And some bass players that I even know now to this day, and a lot, especially in the gospel industry, tune down a half step or a whole step. For instance, Andrew Goucher, amazing bass player, not just gospel, but many genres of music, but he still tunes down a whole step. So his strings, he plays a 6 and a 5 strings from time to time, back and forth, but he plays his low B is actually an A. Right, so you have many options when you're thinking about that. So I would suggest, if you're playing a 5-string and you want to tune down and you're playing a lot of gospel music and stuff like that, I would suggest go ahead and try out a 5-string. At the same time, many gospel players play a 4-string, so you really can't go wrong with that. But other genres really require you to play those certain low notes. So it's really just personal preference. I would just say go into your local music store or your music shop and try out a 4-string, try out a 5-string, especially if you're a beginner. See what's comfortable for you. If the neck is way too wide for a 5-string, just go to a 4-string. Practice on that first. My first bass was a 4-string. I was actually playing one of these. And then I gradually moved up to a 5 string and then a 6 string after a while, and then even a 7 string I played for a while, just because I like to experiment with chords. And the 7 string had 2 higher strings than a 4 string. All right, it had a high C and a high F. All right, so you were getting into guitar player territory right there. So I just like to experiment with chords a lot. I didn't play that for long, but my main instrument now is either a 4 or a 5 string. I can really go back and forth between the two, and like I said, it's a personal preference. So in conclusion, my suggestion would be to you that's first starting off, beginners that's first starting off playing, will be to challenge yourself. All right, what I mean by that is grab a 4 string. Grab a 4 string, learn your fretboard. It's easier, you have a little bit more discipline when you're playing a 4 string, because you have to know where your notes are on the fretboard. It makes it that much, I want to say tougher, but it makes it that much more challenging, all right, to play a 4 string and to start off, just because the neck is a little bit more narrow than a 5 or a 6. There you go. Hope I answered that question for you guys. Do I play a 4 string or do I play a 5 string? So let me know what you guys end up deciding, a 4 string or a 5 string. All right, let me know what it is. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, give me a comment below. Until next time, see you.